Very good morning, students. So in the previous class we discussed about a parallelogram law of addition vector and as well as a subtraction of vectors also finished. And let us will move to the next one. In this motion on a plane, the next topic will be triangle law of addition vector. See, triangle law of addition vector is here also, it is also same like addition, and you remember addition in the senses. So here we should add, suppose the triangle is actually, it is consists of three sides. So it is a one side, it is another side, and it is another side. So in case of a triangle, if any two vectors, that is the adjacent sides of a triangle, the two vectors are represented both in magnitude and direction. That's what here you write on the top arrow mark, so that it is represented as the vector, so that the two vectors are represented both in magnitude and direction, by the sides of a triangle, because these two are the sides of a triangle, and another side of a triangle, because triangle is three sides there, that is one side P, another side is Q, and the other side is which we can call closing side of the triangle, which is taken in the reverse order. Suppose you are taking in the reverse order, that is we can say the resultant also represented both in magnitude and direction. Therefore the closing side of the vector or closing side of the resultant also represented both in magnitude and direction. Therefore the triangle law of addition vector is nothing but a, we can say triangle law of addition vector is nothing but a, if a two vectors P and Q are the two vectors are the adjacent sides of a triangle, and their resultant is represented, that is a closing side, and which has both magnitude and direction, then we can say which is taken in the reverse order. It is taken in the reverse order. So for the reverse order, we can say resultant will be represented magnitude of P plus Q, because the resultant is taken in the reverse order, it is 1. And you go for the second one, same triangle law only, we say P vector and it is a Q vector, and here there is a resultant is represented in the same order. See, you say all vectors are represented in the same order. See, P vector, Q vector, R vector. See, these all are represented in the same order. Same again the statement, everything is same. If two vectors are represented both in magnitude and direction by the adjacent sides of a triangle, yes, these two are represented in the adjacent sides of a triangle, and their resultant is represented, that we can say closing side of the triangle. The resultant is represented in this triangle, it is in the reverse order. In this triangle, it is represented in the same order. So the same order, no? Suppose you add P plus Q plus R vector is equal to 0. That nothing but a what? Sum of the vectors in a given triangle is equal to 0. Therefore, the resultant will be minus of P plus Q, we can say. This is nothing but a triangle law. Yes, we can take any one. Either this one or this one, both will be the same. One is taken in the same order, one is taken in the reverse order, so that their resultants are represented to be like this. Let us coming to the, in this case, example. One example is there, that is a Lami's theorem. You remember here, Lami's theorem. Lami's theorem it is. See, Lami's theorem is the example of a triangle or application of a triangle. See, we can also represent a triangle to be like this. Yes, it is also represented as a triangle. It is a P vector, it is a Q vector, and it is an R vector. Yes, this is also represented as a triangle. And you remember there is a one question is there, that is I will tell you about a equilibrium of particles. Everyone remember equilibrium of nothing but a, here it is one question here, it is very important for objective point of view. If a single force acting on the body, if there is a single force that cannot keep the particle in equilibrium, concentrate. If remember single force acting on the body, that single cannot keep the particle in equilibrium, because if the force acting, therefore the body displaces along the direction of a force. This is the first one. So that the second one, I will tell you first one it is single cannot keep the particle in equilibrium, and here second I will tell you, you take if a two forces are acting, two equal and opposite forces are acting. Yes, if two equal and opposite forces are acting, you say two equal and opposite forces are acting, and equal, and that must be coplanar, because that must be in the same plane. So that if two forces are acting equal and opposite, yes, it keeps the particle in equilibrium. So that there is a minimum number of forces are required to keep the particle in equilibrium is 2 are required. If the same plane, if the two forces are in the same plane, therefore the particle, it is to be at rest, or we can say it is in the equilibrium position, therefore we can say resultant is 0. And coming to the third point, I will tell you, if a three unequal forces and that must be in the same plane, three unequal forces that must be in the same plane, therefore that also keep the particle in equilibrium. That's what we can say. That's what we can say. It is a triangle law, say, which is acting PQR. Yes, it keeps the particle in equilibrium. Look at it is a triangle PQR. Yes, resultant will be 0. That's what we can say. If three unbalanced forces, we can also say like this, three unbalanced forces, see, which keep the particle in equilibrium, that must be in the same plane, we can say coplanar forces. Three coplanar unbalanced forces are acting on the particle, therefore that keeps the particle in equilibrium. That's what we can call as the equilibrium particles. So this is there in the laws of motion also. Again, there also we will discuss the same things. This is the third point. So that here three number of forces are required to keep the particle in equilibrium, that must be in the same plane and unbalanced. And fourth one, if four unequal forces, the four unequal may be in the coplanar or may not be coplanar, or may be coplanar or may not be coplanar. That's what we can say. Coplanar or non-coplanar forces, four unbalanced forces are acting on the particle. Yes, it is also keep the particle in equilibrium. So first one, single cannot keep the particle in equilibrium, and if equal and opposite, that must be in the same plane. Yes, it keeps the particle in equilibrium. And you go for the third one, three unbalanced coplanar forces are acting on the particle, it keeps the particle in equilibrium. And fourth, that is a four unbalanced, equal or unequal, that's what, unbalanced, and that must be coplanar or it is a planar forces, it keeps the particle in equilibrium. These are the examples related to the equilibrium particle. Let us will move to the Lami's theorem. Sir, what is actually Lami's theorem? So that the Lami's theorem in the sense is, we can say like this, it is actually it is related to pure objective, but we should know. So here this is, you take as the F1 force, and here you take it is F2 force, and this you say F3 force. See, there is an F1 is making an angle, this force is making an angle between the two opposite forces, that you say alpha. And here F2 is making an angle opposite two forces, because this is the point, no? So for this F2 there is an angle is suspended is, you say beta. And the last one you take like that is about a F3 which making an angle, you say gamma. Very simple here. Lami's theorem in the sense is, F1 is directly proportional to, you take as the sine of the angle between the opposite two forces. So this F1 actually opposite to the F1, how many forces are there? Two forces. One is F2 and another one is F3. In between this, what is an angle? Alpha is there. So that the F1 directly proportional to sine of the angle between the opposite two forces. We should take opposite to the two forces. So from here we can write F1 is equal to some k sine alpha, so that Fk is equal to F1 by sine alpha, you take as a 1. This is for F1. So look at in the same situation F2, you see F2 also it is making an angle beta opposite to the F2, forces F1 and F3 is there. So that here F2 is directly proportional to sine of the angle between the opposite two forces. What is an angle here? Beta is the angle. So that we can write here F2 is equal to k into sine beta. Therefore k is equal to F2 by sine beta. This is equation 2, you say. Then coming to the point is third one, it is let us we can say like this, you say F3. Here also F3 also directly proportional to opposite to the two forces, that is F1 and F2. Angle is a sine of the angle. So that F3 is equal to k into sine gamma. This is, you say 3. So that, or else you write a k is equal to F3 by sine gamma. This is, you say as 3. Now look at equation 1, k is equal to f1 by sin alpha, k is equal to f2 by sin beta, k is equal to f3 by sin gamma. So however 3 are equal only k, no, therefore the final expression will be according to the Lamis theorem, f1 by sin alpha is equal to f2 by sin beta is equal to f3 by sin gamma, which is equal to constant. We can say like this. So this is about a Lamis theorem. The Lamis theorem will be represented like this. It is related to what? It is a triangle law of addition vector. Triangle law of addition vector, which is important for objective point, but here it is there in the our IP also. This is about a triangle law. Let us will move to the next one, that is about a polygon law of vectors. We can take as the next vector is polygon. Sir, what is mean by polygon? So the polygon is nothing but it is represented as the number of vectors. Polygon in the sense is it represented as the number of vectors. See, number of vectors are represented both in magnitude and direction. That is, we can say both in magnitude and direction. So that if you take a number of vectors which are formed in the closed polygon, there must be a closed. Let us you take a here you take a number of vectors. It is a one vector, second vector, this is the third vector, and here it is a fourth vector. Your wish. That must be number of vectors. It must be consist of a number of vectors like this. So there is a closing side. So look at, you take as this is the vector is a f1 vector, f2 vector, f3 vector, and f4 vector, and it is f5. See, there are a number of vectors are represented both in magnitude and direction. f1, f2, f3, f4, f5. These are all represented both in magnitude and direction. Then their closing side. See, we can take in the first one is, which is in the reverse order. Yes, we can take as the reverse order. It is represented as the resultant. So that the resultant is equal to, we can say f1 plus, f2 plus, f3 plus, f4 plus, f5. It is nothing but a resultant of the polygon. Polygon in the sense is it represented as the number of vector which has both magnitude and direction by the adjacent sides of a polygon, and their closing side which represented as the resultant, and resultant also represented both in magnitude and direction, which is taken in the reverse order. If you take the reverse order like this, and these all are in the order, look at this, all are in the order like this. Clear? This is we can call as the polygon. And also we can take, yes, here also again we can take like this. You take a p vector or f1 vector, it is f2 vector, and this is f3 vector, and you say it is a f4 vector, and this is f5 vector, and there is a closing side. Again it is, we can take it in the same order, it is the resultant is represented. This again it is, you write in the same situation, resultant vector plus f1 plus, f2 plus, f3 plus, f4 plus, f5, which is equal to 0. Therefore resultant will be minus of f1 plus, f2 plus, f3 plus, f4 plus, f5 it is. This is which is taken in the same order. Look at, all are in the same order, f1, f2, f3, f4. Yes, it is f5 like this. But in this situation the resultant is taken in the reverse order. Same statement, but only one word change. One is taken in the reverse order, one is taken in the same order. So that these are the resultant is represented. Suppose that there is a, here there is a one question is there that we have to find if this number of vectors are represented in the closed polygon. In this closed polygon, sometimes he may ask you like this, find, suppose here if it's, you take it, this is x, this is also x, opposite, actually this all represented as x, 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 x. So is asking now find this resultant like this. What is the resultant is represented? Yes, the resultant fr is equal to f1 plus f2 because of these two. And here if two vectors, you say it is a head and tail is joined now, so that you take a one extended line which makes an angle, actually it is a 60 degree will be there, and here this is represented as the 90. Like here from this point to you say this is the resultant for this. Sir, what will happen this resultant? Yes, you will get f1 plus f2 plus f3. That resultant will be represented is, we can take as for this it is x and x, no, so that this will be represented x, this will be represented x, so that total from this point to this point is represented as 2x. Like that here also we should get this resultant also. So here angle is given as 60 degree, no, then what will happen, this resultant vector, the resultant will be represented is how much, so that there is a resultant for this calculation. Let us we have parallelogram, resultant vector is equal to root over f1 square plus f2 square plus it is a 2 f1 f2 cos theta. So theta is how much here? 60 degree. So you take a theta 60, f1 as x, f2 is x, so that resultant will be, we can like this, x square plus 2x square cos 60. However, cos 60 is 1 by 2, no, then you cancel these two, because you want right here cos 60 will be 1 by 2. That's what you cancel cos 60 and 1 by 2. It is equal to 3x square. Therefore, root 3x. So this value will be equal to root 3x, and this is also same, it represented as root 3x, this point to this point. Suppose you want to say some a, b, c, d, e and f. Yes, we can also take like this. So this is the resultant vector we have to get in the given a polygon. This is an hexagon, no? That's what hexagon. Actually in hexagon, look at, if you take a center like this, therefore we will get the like this triangles, equilateral triangles will get. All will get a equilateral triangle will be like this. Yes, this is to be like this. These all are in the equilateral triangles. That's what it is, will get a like this, right? So this is about a like a polygon law vector. Suppose on question I will tell you, say there is a one question is given. If 11 forces are given in the polygon, how many number? There are 11 forces are given in the polygon. So each equal to 5 Newton. There are 11 forces are in the polygon. Then each force is equal to given as a 5 Newton. Then find a resultant. Find a resultant. See, actually we have to get a, suppose you form in the polygon, you take 11 forces, like it is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, here 5, that all opposites are cancelled. You say like opposites are cancelled, then here 11 is there, no? 11 out of 11, 10 will be cancelled, then 1 only left, therefore the resultant will be represented as 5 Newton. This is the way. Suppose if 10 forces are given, if 10 forces, each is given as the force is 2 Newton. So 10 is nothing but a opposites are cancelled, then opposites are cancelled is nothing but a resultant will be 0. If 10 number forces are given in the closed polygon, therefore opposites are cancelled. When opposites are cancelled, resultant will get a resultant is equal to 0. Whereas in the 11 forces are given, therefore we can take 11 is nothing but a, that opposites are cancelled, then when left only 1. Therefore that resultant will be equal to 5 Newton, whatever the resultant is given. So we will get the same answer. This is related to polygon law of addition vector. Now let us will move to the one I will tell you. Suppose if there are number of vectors are represented. Sir, how will get the number of vectors? There is a one formula is there to find the number of vectors. Number of vectors. That you say n is equal to 360 divided by theta. Because in a closed, no, for closed you take as a 360 by the angle theta. Sometimes he may ask you angle between any two vectors. That will be represented as theta is equal to 360 divided by n. If we know the number of vectors, then we will get the angle. Suppose in the last previous question, n is equal to, I was given 10 vectors, right? Suppose there you substitute a 10 value, then you will get the angle between the vectors. Yes, the angle between the vector is how much now? 36 degrees it is. Like this we have to find the angle between the vectors. Suppose we have to get the number of vectors. Suppose angle between the two vectors are given is 30 degree. Angle between any two vectors is given as 30 degree. Then find the number of vectors. Yes. Angle between the two vectors is 30 degree given and is asking find the number of vectors. Therefore, you get number of vectors is equal to 360 divided by 30 you take, so that it is 3 ones 3 12. So n is equal to 12. How many number vectors are there? 12 number vector. And I'll tell you one more also. See, if we are finding like this, if number of vectors we are getting a like even number, you remember, for even number, suppose we are getting a even number, therefore for that resultant will be the as same as the given force, as same as the given force. That is, here the number of vectors are represented. In the previous I told you 11 forces, each is carrying a 5 Newton. Suppose in that way also there is an angle if it is given. So based on the angle also we can say resultant. So that the number of vectors are, if in the final resultant we are getting a even number, for that even number we can say the resultant force is as same as the given individual force. Sometimes if it is odd number, therefore for odd number what will happen? For odd number is we will get the resultant is 0. So this is related to polygon law of addition vector. Polygon law of addition vector. So this is the way we have to find the resultants. Like it is the angle is if it is given, therefore by using this angle, so resultant will get a root 3x between these two vectors, and as same as this is also root 3x only. And in a hexagon it is represented as like equilateral triangles. Okay, this is about a polygon and a triangle of addition vector. Polygon and it is I mean to say another one is a triangle of addition vector. Right, it is complete related to, till now it is related to vectors, till now it is related to vectors, so that the vectors are finished. Now after the vectors, let us tell you another one is, because this chapter is contains a motion in a plane, no, so in that motion in a plane vectors are finished. Now let us will move to the plane. So now we should know first of all related to the planes. Sir, what are the planes? See, in a plane, that is we can say in a 2-dimensional plane or in a 3-dimensional plane, like that if I take, therefore in that case now we have to discuss about a planes. Here you write plane. So vector is finished. Suppose you take any plane like a 2-dimensional plane, x and y. So in this x and y axis, it is consist of n number particles. Usually particles is moved from one place to another place. So that in this case also we have to say the velocities. We have to define the velocity as well as acceleration. We know already in the straight line, in a 1-dimension velocity we know. Velocity is nothing but the rate of change of displacement. In a straight line, v is equal to the rate of change of displacement. The rate means sense, rate in the sense is we can say time. Like acceleration also we know. In case of a straight line, that is the rate of change of velocity. Sir, what about in plane, in 2-dimensional plane, what will happen the velocity and acceleration? Suppose this plane is consist of n number particles. You say one position of a particle, suppose you look at the particle position from x axis, and from this you say r1 is the position, and from here we can say x1 is the one position and you say y1 is the another position. So like another particle which is at a position of x2. So for this position, now we have to say velocity. At this position we have to say, no doubt velocity is nothing but here everyone, in any case velocity is nothing but a rate of change of displacement only. With respect to time, the position of a particle is changes. So now in terms of position I want to say that is dr by you say dt, because in a given a plane the position, initially position will be like this. Suppose the position of particle is changed, so that when changed with respect to time, no, so that v is equal to dr by dt. Sir, what is r? That we can say r is equal to position vector x1 or xi cap plus you say y j cap it is. The given is you say x, y is given like this. Suppose here you write velocity v is equal to, it is in the form of d by dt of xi plus yj cap. So v is equal to dx by dt I cap it is, and dy by dt j cap. No doubt it is dx by dt is nothing but the position with respect to time. No? So let you write vx is equal to dx by dt, because with respect to x is there, no? And in the same vy is equal to dvy by dt with respect to time it is. So that in this you replace velocity vector is equal to, it is in the form of vxi cap plus Vy j cap. This is the velocity in case of a motion in a plane. In a plane, the velocity will be like this. So that V magnitude will be root over, we can say it is a Vx square plus Vy square like this. And here, so it is a Vx and Vy, no, we have to get the angle also, suppose which making an angle theta, or you say alpha, so that tan theta is equal to, in this case, theta is equal to, it is a Vy by Vx. Like this we should get. Like this we should get, it is a in the form of a velocity in a two-dimensional plane. So that in a two-dimensional plane, tan theta is equal to Vy by Vx. So this is related to velocity in case of a motion in a plane. So that this is we can call velocity in motion in a plane or in a two-dimension. So we can define like this, velocity will be V is equal to Vxi cap plus Vyj cap. The magnitude will be Vx square plus Vy square. And here a tan theta, the angle made by that vector, the position vector will be Vy by Vx. Because opposite by adjacent, no. So that Vy by Vx we can take like this. So it is in case of a plane, the velocity will be defined like this. Velocity in the sense is, you remember, it is a rate of change of displacement. But in the plane, no, we are saying about a position, the rate of change of position. With respect to time, the position of a particle is changes, which we can say it is the velocity in a two-dimensional plane. Right? So this is the today's class, and we discussed about a plane, we started a plane and vector is finished. And in this plane, velocity one statement is over. Like next one we should define also acceleration also. Then we will see in the next class. Thank you very much. So, we will continue in the next class.